Hey guys, here remember the Vampire Diaries, Season 7, Episode 16, Days of Future Past, and I was really looking forward to this episode, because as you guys know, we had the major time jump in the last episode, and I really thought that that was going to be the thing to finally get the show out of the slump it's been. I mean, all season, it seems like we've been going somewhere, and we go absolutely nowhere, and most of it is because of the flash forwards, because of what was, we knew these characters were in the flash forwards, we weren't as worried for them, and because of that, it didn't really do as much. And I thought that jumping 3 years forward would fix most of that, but it really didn't, because once again, this was a very lackluster episode. I wasn't a huge fan of it. We mainly focused on things that I didn't give a shit about, especially, you guys know what I want to talk about the most, because the things I hated the most about this season is mainly what we focused on in this episode, and we had really pointless flashbacks that I will get into, but let's just get into this episode, because like I said, not a fan of it, honestly, and I'm really disappointed, and honestly kind of upset, because I really felt they'd be moving the show forward, and I don't know about this point, because I don't know at this point, because at this point, there's nowhere we're going, really. We're not really going anywhere. It really sucks, but it doesn't really seem like we're going much of anywhere at this point, which is really maddening and annoying. At this point, we're on episode 16. We should be going somewhere, and I still can't really tell where we're headed with this season. So we start in Dallas, Texas, with Stefan tied up and the sun coming up. Raina presses them, and Damon says to let him tag in for him. Raina tells him to say yes so the transfer spell can move the mark from Stefan to Damon, and basically that's what they want. That's what Damon wants to do. He wants to basically get the mark so that way he can be marked. And remember, Damon feels he has to punish himself. That's the one aspect of this episode I really did enjoy, is the fact that Damon feels he needs to punish himself. And basically Stefan says Valerie can do the spell. Damon entices Stefan while telling him he's full of werewolf toxin, and Stefan United lashes out at Damon and Raina, and Damon strangles Raina with a cable. She reminds Damon if he kills her, Stefan will die because of the mark, as we know, because anyone that dies that's marked, anyone that's marked dies along with Raina, and Damon feels that he needs to die. But what I don't like is this idea that we've been going with all season, that Damon feels that Stefan is better without him. It's clear that that's not going on. I mean, I thought Damon realized this when he slept for 3 years and Stefan woke him up, basically told him, no, hey, we need you, and Damon still has this realization. I just don't get it. We're not going anywhere new with this. I mean, I thought waking Damon up would make him realize that he does need his brother and that he does need to stick by him, but still, Damon is harping on the fact that Stefan is better off without him, which I really don't think is true at this point. He says he's giving Stefan a head start, then the cable shocks Raina, Damon, and they're both knocked out, and then we get the most pointless flash forward we could have. I mean, flashbacks we could have. Look, guys, like I said, we need some flashbacks to tie up some loose ends, figure out that kind of stuff. Definitely, I think we definitely need to tie up some loose ends here and there. Because, there were some gaps that we need to fill in, like, for example, Enzo and Bonnie, how did Matt join, Raina, how that all started and everything. What we got here was completely unnecessary. The only thing we found out in these flash forwards is how Valerie and Stefan got together. I don't give a shit about how Valerie and Stefan got together. First of all, I don't really care. I understand, for me, I was perfectly fine with, they just got close because Stefan and Caroline weren't working, and they just got close. I didn't need to see it. It didn't really make sense to me. I don't really know why we need to see all this. It just felt completely unnecessary, and because of that, I'm not really going to talk about it. I mean, all we really learned is that they wanted to, basically find a way to get the mark off. They talked about Raina a little bit, and she says, make a choice that serves you. He nods, says nothing is holding him back, and he agrees. She smiles, and whatever, I didn't care. So the thing that makes me most annoyed about this episode, though, is that most of this episode focuses on Nora and Mary Louise. You guys know why I'm upset about that. I like Nora. I do. I think Nora's a good character. I think she works well with Bonnie, but Mary Louise is just boring. And again, they tried to make me feel for these characters, and I just don't. We see Nora's tied up. Alex says Mary Louise. She says they need her help. Nora tells her to bug her off. Alex says they have answers and have been researching on Mary Louise. Wait a second. I thought Alex was neutralized. I thought Enzo said that he got rid of Alex. Apparently he didn't. Alex asks her about Enzo. She asks why she wants him. Alex says she wants to kill him, and Alex tells Nora that she thinks that Enzo released Raina and says she wants Nora to hunt her down. Turns out she's held her for 3 years, which makes no sense. The way that now all of a sudden Nora's now found her. I don't understand that at all. I mean, if we would have had something where, Nora was hunting for Mary Louise. Okay, yes, that I could understand. But there's the whole thing of we didn't see that. We haven't seen Nora and Mary Louise since Mary Louise was knocked out. You're telling me for 3 years Mary Louise has been knocked out is really stupid and really doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The fact that we're supposed to believe that Mary Louise has been like this for 3 years. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So basically, Alex takes Nora to Mary Louise, who says she's cold. Mary Louise says she dreams of taking her away. Alex made Mary Louise sick and says bring Enzo back alive, and I'll heal her. Nora has no choice but to go hunt him down. And again, I just don't care. I really don't. They want me to care, and I just don't. That's most of what this episode focuses on. So Matt meets with Bartel, who is with Enzo, who has compelled him, and Enzo tells Bartel to cuff himself to the car. Enzo says that Alex will blame him for releasing Reina when it was Matt who did it, and he asks why. And basically, Stefan calls Valerie about the transfer spell for the scar. She says her taxi is there and has to go. She says she's on her way to Dallas, and Damon wakes, sees Reina there. He says she's sweet to keep him company. She says she's patching herself up and then has to follow her sword to Stefan. He says Stefan is being a martyr, and he says he'll tell his brother to come back. Reina says that that's nobler than she expected from him. Damon says he's been in a coffin for the past 3 years, and Reina tells him she's dying anyway and will kick it in 60 years or so. She says when she dies, Damon will die about the same time that Elena's waking up. So basically what he did was pointless, because Elena's going to wake up in 60 years and Damon's going to be dead. So it's just, I don't like it. I really did not like this at all. And it really seemed like the completely wrong direction to take this in. Reina takes off, leaves Damon pondering that tidbit of news, and obviously he's thinking, I was gonna sleep for 60 years, my girlfriend would be dead, and, it's just stupid. So 2 years ago in the Philippines, once again, Valerie and Stefan are talking to a woman about removing a scar. She doesn't speak English. Stefan looks through his contacts at Elena's name than Damon's. He says he's been thinking about Damon in the coffin and that when his brother wakes, he'll be dead. He says the phone is now obsolete. Valerie and Stefan toast, swill more booze. She says she'll order more. The bartender speaks English, says he knows how to help. And again, I just didn't give a shit about Stefan and Valerie. I don't know why they think I care. I just don't. Mainly because this was 3 years ago. I don't care about all this. I care about certain things, but not this. So Stefan takes a call from Caroline. It's not her, it's Reina, who took her phone. As we know, Reina's holding Caroline hostage, who we barely focused on this episode. And again, that was something that I really thought we were going to focus on here. Reina says she can still help him and says he took her sword, so she had to chase him. Stefan says she's being confusing, and she says he grew on her when she was trapped in the armory. And we see Reina held prisoner while they take her blood. She says she closed her eyes, saw him traveling the world with Valerie. She says the mark on him is a mystical connection to her. He says that's a bad pickup line, and she scoffs. He calls it creepy. She says she knows he's heading to the armory to see if they can help him. She says she's gaining on him and can tell. Stefan speeds up, spots a truck nearby. She sees in her mind as he throws her sword into a passing truck, and now she has to decide Stefan or sword, and is very annoyed because either she saves Stefan or she has to take the sword. And Damon then takes a call at the TV studio but can't stand, and it's Stefan. He says he ditched the store to buy time, needs a great idea. Damon says he's got toxin fever and can't think clearly, and Stefan says Valerie's on the way to help him, and Stefan says he has to focus on the escape. Damon says head back this way, he can have the armory meet him to intercept him. And again, they're too far away in this episode. That's the thing. They've kept these characters too separate this entire season, and I just want them to be kind of in the same place. It just isn't really working that they're separate all season. Matt asks Stefan why he's in Dallas. He says he's there to try and find Reina. Also, he says he knew that Caroline would be used as bait, then found out Matt got the police to avoid the call. Enzo says he'll torment the other cop until he talks, and he asks Matt why unleash Reina now. Matt says ask Stefan. Nora's there, attacks Enzo. Matt is stunned. Enzo struggles to his feet, gets hold of her. He tried to give her a pill to stop witch powers, and Matt drives away while they struggle. Nora's magic is down and they grapple. He tries to give her the pill again that will kill her powers. By the way, Bonnie is nowhere to be found in this episode, and as we know, Bonnie doesn't have her powers right now, and she also is in a mental institution, but there's nothing about that here. I mean, again, they focus more on Mary Louise, who aren't main characters, than they do on Bonnie, and it's just annoying. So she says that basically, she says these pills poison Mary Louise. She tells him that Alex promised her a cure for Mary Louise if she brings him back alive. Nora says she can't let her die. Enzo says he did not let Reina loose and says if those pills are fatal to witches, they need to work together. And he swears to her they have the same goal. And Reina calls Stefan, says she had to run the track off the road, complains to him about his brother and says she's plagued with a responsibility, doesn't like it. She says Matt really hates him, made her promise to put him back in the Hellstone if he let her loose. Stefan says he's starting to realize how much Matt must have hated him, and Damon calls Enzo. He tells him that he's in Dallas, as if he's friends with the Armory Nuts, and Enzo asks why. He says he needs him to scoop up Reina. Enzo says he knows just the spot, so he'll text them coordinates to bring her in, and Nora says if she wants Mary Louise, Alex wants him. They can make this work, and basically Alex wants Enzo for Mary Louise. And again, that's an okay trade, but I didn't care. Nora says Alex wants her to bring him back. He says Alex will kill Mary Louise and Nora if they go back there, and he says he'll tell Alex to bring Mary Louise and leave her lackeys, and that proves to not be that big of a deal once we get to the end of this episode anyway. So Nora asks why she's helping her. He says he likes to be direct, and Mary Louise sits groggily reciting poetry when Alex comes in. Alex says Nora does care about her, and says she demanded she bring her along to pick up Enzo. Alex says they're also looking for her friend Reina, and Damon's struggling when Valerie shows up to heal him. They swap insults. She heals him. He says that's better. She says they need him healthy for the transfer spell, but then he snaps her neck, and back in the Philippines, Valerie tells Stefan the bartender has a theory, and he says all bartenders do. Stefan tells her look at the stars. She points out some. They debate constellation. She calls Mindy. He says she's right. They kiss, and then they kiss some more, and this is supposedly how they got together, and I don't care. I really didn't care, guys. I mean, the entire thing was just, here is how Valerie and Stefan got together. I didn't need to see this. I really didn't. I don't know why they thought I need to see this. Out of all the flashbacks we needed, this was like the least amount we needed. I need stuff with Bonnie. I need stuff with Matt. I need to see this stuff, and we're not seeing what I want to see, and it's really starting to piss me off that the show is just not giving me what I want, because, you know, when I go in the Vampire Diaries, I expect something interesting, and they're not really giving me anything that interesting. The entire episode was about this trade anyway. Alex is at the airfield that the Armory used when Stefan shows up. They stare at each other. He asks who she is. Neither knows. Nora's there, makes her invisible, and chokes her. She hands her over to Enzo, and Nora asks where Mary Louise is. She says in the office, then says they failed to create an antidote, and Mary Louise will be dead in a week, and basically Nora's ready to kill her. Enzo says he needs her alive. Alex says go see Mary Louise in the time she has left. And basically Enzo says he hopes that Alex is lying. Enzo says he's not in the mood. She says she knows he's been raiding their supplies, then asks why he took so many pills. He says he didn't. Maybe she lost track of them. Alex says give Bonnie my regards. Alex thinks he took them so Bonnie can hide from a locator spell. And Damon has Valerie tied up in the car. Damon asks how long Valerie's been able to fix Stefan's problems. He says he thinks she's known for 3 years, but didn't tell Stefan so she could have time with him, and the scar kept him away from Caroline. And Damon calls her insecure. She says she was protecting Stefan by keeping Damon out of it. She says the scar can only go to a blood relative, and that meant waking him, and he's always trouble for Stefan. So basically, what I'm supposed to realize that they woke up Damon so that way he could have the scar transferred to him and die in 60 years when Elena's gonna die. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And Valerie says all he needed was Stefan, not Elena. She took his place, and it's dumb. I really don't like it. So Damon answers Stefan's phone. She says he's refusing to participate. Damon says he's participating. Stefan asks what's up. Damon says the cavalry's coming to take down Reina, and they both get their futures. Stefan asks if he's taking the scar, and she says, say it. Damon says he has a plan. Stefan says he always does. Damon tells Valerie not to lecture him about trust, and then they hear Stefan's shot, and he groans, he goes down. And Reina's there with the sword, picks up the phone, she says, catch you later. Valerie says Damon's clinging to the coward's way out, and says Stefan knew that Damon would chicken out at the last minute. Damon says he's in, says do the spell. He unties her, says do the spell now. She wants him to pull over, but he says there's no time, do it now. And again, the fact that Stefan just passed out again, I didn't care. The show wants me to care, but I just didn't care because I know he's going to come back anyway, and he's going to be fine. So I didn't really care. Nora comes to Mary Louise, who says she feels awful and has been poisoned. Nora says she'll be fine. Mary Louise says she's an awful liar. She says Alex told her there's no antidote, but Nora says they can find a way. She picks her up, carries her out. As Reina nears Stefan, Valerie works the spell on Damon. Reina says she hates this, says when Matt says her free, she touched her sword, knew what it did to him, says she felt the scar reopen. She said the smart play would have been Valerie and going on the run, but he wanted Damon, not Caroline or Valerie. She says he went to wake Damon and slowed himself down, getting his albatross out of storage. She says he almost gave her time to catch him. She says he just had to have Reyna, and he says he didn't like being a fugitive, but she says he was happy when his brother was gone, and now here they are. So Valerie chances Damon drives. We see a wound emerging on him. Reyna asks if Stefan can see he's in this because of his dumbass mistake of waking Damon. He asks why she cares. She says she doesn't. The Phoenix Stone does, wants to liberate him, trying to show him to let Damon go. She asks if he's ready to hear the wisdom and leave Damon behind. She kicks him. Stefan says yes. Reyna says remember that. Use it to survive in the Hellstone this time. She stabs him with a sword. Valerie says the spell's unraveling. Valerie says there is no scar to unravel the spell. Reyna pulls the sword out of Stefan, and it looks like his soul is now trapped in the Phoenix Stone, which, again, is really stupid. And she walks away, and we just went through this with Stefan and Damon in the beginning of the season, and then, the beginning half of this second half of the season, so I don't know why we're focusing on this all of a sudden again. It just doesn't make sense. So Matt gets a message from Caroline asking why he helped Reyna. Matt's in the Mystic Falls Cemetery. Caroline wants to know his reason. Matt, we realize, is at Penny's grave. Penny has died and says he made Stefan pay for what he did, and he kneels and says he did it just like he promised her, and it's a good scene. I like that now we know that Penny did die, and this was basically his choice to go after Stefan. Now we know that, and that is a flashback that I want to see. I want to see Penny's death. I want to see what led up to that. That would be interesting. So Nora loads Mary Louise into the car, says they'll get her a good meal. Nora kisses her. Then Reyna takes a shot at them, takes out the windshield. Nora speeds them away. Damon and Valerie pull up at the airfield, see Stefan on the ground. Damon runs shouting. Not Valerie, says they can bring him back. They need the sword, though. Mary Louise says that was an amazing escape. Nora says she'll follow them, and we see that Nora was marked, and she says she'll be running from her forever. Mary Louise says no, grabs the sword, starts chanting. She says she won't let Reyna put her in this Hellstone. Mary Louise tells Nora she's already dead. Valerie tells Damon this is her fault, but Damon says it's his for trying to have it all. He says next time will be different. Reyna chases the girls. Mary Louise chants, tells Nora she must live, but Nora says there's no life without her. Nora reads her the poem she loves. Reyna begins to twitch in pain. Mary Louise chants while Nora reads her a poem. The Phoenix Stone lights up and glows. The girls run off the road. Their car goes up in a fireball. They basically pull off a Thelma Louise. Their sword explodes, and I just don't care. Mary Louise and Nora are dead, which thank God, because I just don't care. I don't care that they died. I don't care that they did this. It didn't feel effective. It didn't feel like it didn't feel like something I should care about. It felt like I should, but I just don't care. I mean, Mary Louise and Nora were never that interesting. They were just a lesbian couple, and that's all they were to me. And it's not that they were a lesbian couple. It's the fact that they were just a couple. They didn't really do anything that interesting with them. They didn't really do anything that I cared about that much, and this entire thing, I mean, was just stupid. And Mary Louise and Nora are now dead, and I just don't care. I'm glad they're dead, honestly, because it gets rid of a part of the show that I don't have to complain about anymore, but it just makes me think that now we have even more pointless stuff to deal with. We see Scream in agony, then Reyna gets out of her car and screams, no, the car is burning, the sword is too. Damon promises to save Stefan, who's now trapped in the stone, which we know has basically, glows, and basically that's how the episode ends. Overall, not a fan of this episode. Once again, a very disappointing episode. And it's not so much that, we're not getting where I want to. It's that we have gone where I want to, and we're still stuck on things that just don't matter. I mean, Mary Louise and Nora just don't really do much of anything for me. You guys know that. I'm not a fan of their characters. They're not going anywhere. They're not doing anything interesting. I just don't need to see them all the time. They're really boring to me. Stefan and Damon, I mean, they can do some really good stuff with this, but the fact that Damon was awakened just so that way he could be marked to save Stefan, I think is really dumb and really just a really stupid thing the show decided to do. I really don't like that. And then the whole thing with Nora and Mary Louise, I don't care that they're dead. I really don't. I do like this storyline, though, with Matt going after Stefan. You have a genuine reason for Matt to go after Stefan. I like that we're doing anything. It's well done that they're handling it that way. Definitely do enjoy that. But overall, guys, like I said, not a fan of this episode. Really wanted to like this episode, but once again, it really was very half-assed, and it really didn't seem like they're focusing on the things I want them to focus on. I want to see more Bonnie. I want to see Caroline. We're not seeing those things. I want to see what they've been up to. We haven't seen that, and I know we've seen them in flash forwards, but we didn't see any of that in this episode, and it looks like next week is going to be more on track. It's more about there's going to be this fake Stefan that's like more evil and just not Stefan at all, and they're gonna realize not Stefan. I don't know, we'll have to see what happens there, but let me know what you guys saw this episode. Love to hear your thoughts, and we'll see you guys in my next, which does make sense, because Stefan's body's still there, but his soul, as we know, is trapped in the Phoenix Stone. But overall, guys, let me know what you guys saw this episode. Like I said, not a fan of it. We'll see you guys next week, which will be for the originals, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.